So guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast, and this is great because I'm doing a face-to-face interview for the first time in what seems like a while, because I was doing the Darwin Festival stuff. I was here, I was there, I was everywhere, recording lectures for you guys to enjoy. And today it's great that I'm sat with a friend, James Lock, who we've done work together at the prison, but he's also a very, very talented DJ. Now I like to cover all aspects of sort of culture and bits around Shropshire that I think are really important to talk about. And I feel like the life of a DJ is one of those things that we should definitely discuss. So, James, thank you for coming on the show, man.
Pleasure, no problem. Anytime.
I'm not hearing you for some reason. What is going on? There we go. Give me some audio.
How's that saying?
Hey.
Whoa, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Back in the room now.
Yeah. Maybe I have to do a quick edit there. Maybe not. Maybe get to see the life of a podcaster.
Exactly, yeah.
Where do you hail from originally?
I'm from Shrewsbury, yeah. Holscott and Shrewsbury. Well, he farmed in Shrewsbury, yeah. I grew up there. So I was there probably 22, 23 years with uni. I went to uni as well in Cardiff and worked in Ipswich as well for a bit as well for British Telecom. So, yeah. So that was my main sort of home though. So
Shrewsbury. Fond memories there growing up?
Oh, yeah. Loved it. Yeah, it was really good. Lots of friends on the estate. We used to have a cul-de-sac opposite. We used to play a lot in there with lots of friends playing football, that sort of thing, Curbsy and all that sort of game, play all that sort of thing.
It seems like we were just chatting about our youth and how things change and stuff like that. And it's crazy, isn't it? Like, we were just told to go out and play. Go out and play. Go find a stick or go build a den or something like that. And I'm finding the questions that we were going to talk about. And now kids have got like the Xboxes and the YouTubes and the things like that, But I mean, as bad as it might be, there's a lot of creativity there as well. Do you know what I mean? It's
it's just a different generation, I think. Like you said, we'd go out. I'd probably be out to like in the summer, probably 10 o'clock after 10 at night. And as long as I came back by that time, it was great. If I didn't,
you're in trouble.
Oh, I was in trouble, big time.
Oh, we've all been there, haven't we, when you didn't get back home on time. I nearly called the police.
Oh.
I nearly had the helicopters looking at you. You're grounded. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Well, my mum was a Cockney and very quite outspoken, quite loud. And I remember a time I was quite late home and I was probably, 600 yards down the road, and my mum caught wind of me and I heard her every single word to say I had to come home right now. And I'm not getting into detail, but it was quite loud. And I left my cousin's house, who was at the top of the street. I was like, okay, I've really got to go now. So, yes. So
the call of the mother.
The call of the mother, yes.
Yeah. We're here obviously to talk about music and your journey for music. Have you always been into music? Music has always been a thing for you?
I think so. My dad, he wasn't like a huge musician, but he had like one of those old, the big organs. You used to have stand-up organs. So you'd have like the 2-layer thing with like the little two little buttons, and it'd make like the green sleeves and when the Saints go marching in, things like that. He'd learn those, and I think I was always quite intrigued by it, and I'd always have a go on it. And funny enough, I always used to turn the tempo up. I don't know why. I just used to. So I don't know if there was a little bit of an inkling there. That's it. Yeah, sort of thing. My dad would be playing like green sleeves, and I'd be trying to play it twice the tempo, sort of thing. So I think I was always intrigued by it. I think. That's so really... as time went on, so
me too. I feel like music caught me late. I mean, I've always been into music, but I remember years when it comes to like editing, like what I do now and stuff.
Yeah.
And what I'm looking right now behind James is a computer with lots of dials, knobs, and things on the screens and the editing software. But there was this game for the PlayStation years and years and years ago called Music.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember it. And you could make your own music. And you literally just drag and click and snip. And you could literally make your own tracks. But the problem with that was everything was copywritten. So you couldn't release any music from it. It was all sound bites that were. But that to me, I look back at that now and think, that's where that comes from. Huh?
Yeah.
They released a game and taught kids, in, I don't know, 97, 98, something like that.
Yeah.
How to edit music. That's pretty cool.
Well, it was all based on loops. It was either, like you said, you either got a sample from a film or a music loop from somewhere, and you'd play it back, or a drum loop, and you play it over the top, and you're just layering things together, and that's similar to what the process is now. It's not changed that much. It's just obviously the text got better, and the sound you can create and the things you can do has got more high tech sort of things.
I remember I was recording a liner for the radio, And there's I always make these stupid jokey things for the radio that I play, and one of them is an alien, and he's listening to see if the Earth is worth saving, and he listens into my show. And I'm going, hey, no, welcome to Naughty Talk, and he goes, no way, and he blows up the Earth. And I was like, I can't find a good explosion, so I just went down the thing and dragged it and distorted it, and it sounded perfect. Sometimes you can just make it. It's crazy how you can do stuff like that.
I've heard of people making like rain, and they've got like a spoon on a cup and just tink the cup, or they've had like whoosh sound, like, and they've like stirred a cup of tea or something, and they've used that whoosh sound and then built it up. And yeah, a lot of sounds are made from like really simple elements. Yeah,
talking to a fan.
That's it. Yeah. You could reverse it. You could add echo to it. You know, you can do anything.
It's good fun. Where does it start for you though? This obviously we play music with your dad and your but actually like making your own music.
Right.
Where does that start?
Okay, so when I started off, I was probably, I think when I was going to college. So I was going probably 15, 16. I was going to college, and actually previous to that, when I was in school, so I went to the Grange, and we had a music teacher there, and he had a lot of sort of synthesizers and different bits of kit. And I was always quite intrigued by them. I always wanted to try and see what sounds I could get out of them. It was the thing. I didn't like regular instruments. I wasn't that keen on drums, piano, trumpets, whatever else.
Here's a recorder. No thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, great, put a bit of wind in it. That's about it, really. So what I wanted to do was basically see what sounds I could get out of these other things. But obviously, I didn't know the theory, so I didn't know how to put them together and didn't know how to do stuff with them. So the teacher would help me. He'd go through it, and I was still learning. But then as time went on, I was still sort of intrigued by it. And then when I went to college, I started a BTEC in engineering, and a friend of mine came in with a tape. And the tape was the Prodigy Experience. So I was like, oh, what's this? This is quite good. So then I got into the whole sort of rave thing. And then I sort of think well, how is Liam, who's the producer, how's he making these sounds? How's he doing these things? How's he doing all this? So that got me more intrigued then. So I was already had a sort of basis, and that built it up even more. So then I started buying a magazine called Future Music. I got hold of a program on for the Atari ST, if you remember the Atari ST, called TCB Tracker, which was a bit similar to what you said with the music program for PlayStation. You lay down loops, you put things together. So I started building tracks with that, and then I put a little tape together, and I showed a friend, and I went, have a listen to that, see what you think. And he went, yeah, it's all right. Oh, got a phone call.
Hello. Bye.
That's how it happens, isn't it?
That's how it happens. You know, this technology is amazing. When you're like, oh yeah, I got Bluetooth for my mixer, until someone calls.
Or Alexa starts.
Thank you, SGF banners. My banners are ready. I want to.
Yeah, well done, SGF banners.
Yeah,
cracking job.
Great. So you got this dinosaur old age piece of equipment that you can use on the computer from from the dark ages.
Correct. So I started off with that. Started building tracks with that. I gave it to a friend who was, funny enough, had the album, so he was into sort of all the rave thing, which I was sort of gradually getting into as well. So then I thought, well, okay, I can only take this so far. And then I sort of, as I was at college, I started going raving as well. So I went to Club Kinetic in Stoke, and I went to Milton Keynes. I was getting into all that as well. So the whole sort of rave scene, the whole sort of that music side thing was building up, and I was finding myself getting more and more into it. So I then decided, well, if I'm going to make better stuff, I've got to start doing some research. So I started buying the Future Music magazine, started buying that, looking at all the background, all the latest kit, who was making what, Roland, Korg, Yamaha, all that sort of stuff. And then invested in a better keyboard, which is what they called a workstation, which was sort of like an all-in-one keyboard. So it had a sequencer and everything, effects and everything built into one unit. It was quite expensive. My dad had to help me out with it. But I said to him it was an investment rather than a purchase. I'm not sure.
I will be world famous.
I'm not sure if he quite believed me, but so it was all right. So I started writing stuff on that, and then gradually built it up from there. Again, as I was doing it, I was going to more raves. I was learning how sort of people responded, what sort of sounds people liked. Oh, they like that drop, or they like that kick, or they like that arrangement. So I was gradually building the tracks on that as well. Listening to more rave stuff, listening to more Prodigy stuff, listening to other artists and that sort of Enjoy, Alternate, all those sort of people. All the sort of 90s stuff. All the youngsters are going to go, who? What are you on about?
Entrance.
Yeah, Entrance, yeah. So listening to all those and picking up and learning how they're putting that stuff together. So I did that, and then gradually bought more and more kit. as I was paying one bit of kit off, I was buying another. So I bought a drum machine, I bought a sampler, I bought another synth.
I'm finding it really hard to let go of kit. And
Yes.
I've got too many microphones now. I could probably sell on, and I'm like, but they're mine.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's really hard.
It's great having this, and I love having this sort of virtual, but it doesn't beat having, when I used to have like 3 or 4 keyboards racked up.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember doing a live show in Shrewsbury. I just did a live thing for a friend, and just have it all set up there on the stage. I thought, that looks good. That looks really good. You know, I wouldn't say how it to myself how it looked good, but you know, the dogs. But you know, I thought it looked great, and so I do miss that a little bit. But you know, it's just technology moves on. That's the way it is.
Yeah, it does. And you know, especially when I can see you got a MIDI keyboard there. You can plug in your MIDI keyboard and go away, and you can sample sounds from all sorts of. And you can play with it as you're doing it. Like this thing here I've got here, the P8, the Zoom P8 with my podcast mixer. And everybody's going, oh, he's going to start talking about. I'm not like. This is like a studio that I carry around with me, like that I can tune everything into it. And before, I had a mixer the size of my house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I've got the bit of kit down there. It's called Nakai Force, which is out recently, and that's an all-in-one studio. So that is basically all that. So all my setup, as I've got here, I keep forgetting we're not on camera.
Two keyboards,
2 monitors, virtual stuff.
Tower down there on the floor.
Tower, all my PCs, all this stuff in one box.
Yeah.
And that is one box with drum pads, effects, everything. So I take that to work, and in my lunch hours, I write other tracks, and I either mix them down on that, or I bring them back, export them into my kit at home, and then start new. So I can actually produce 2 tracks at a time now rather than just one. So.
And you talk about like your influences as being like Prodigy, which is great, by the way. Doing the radio and doing it to both British and American audience is awesome because I'll be like, here's Prodigy, I love this song, and then I'll play it. And then the American audience are kind of like, what was that idiot? What is?
Yeah.
It's weird how we're different.
Well, there's a very low, sort of quite underground drum and bass scene in America.
Yeah.
And that's coming up now. And one of for DNB Promo Team Radio, who's one of the stream people I do it for, they're based in Canada, and they've got a huge, not huge, they're building, but I said to them, well, isn't there much of a scene then? They said it's growing because a lot of the Americans are getting quite fed up with sort of commercial music. They want that underground, they want that whole,
that's happening an awful lot anyway, because I feel like it's manufactured music that's pumped out for the kids at the moment. It's kind of like, what is like,
that's it. Yeah
Especially when it comes to hip-hop, I love like 90s gritty, grainy hip hop. We've talked about this before. Because obviously there were times at the prison when we worked together. We just sit and talk, and we talk about music. And I feel like there are some. I feel like the last probably good rapper that probably falls. That's probably Kendrick Lamar, Run the Jewels maybe. And then after that, you know, you kind of got the different kind of sound that's manufactured and just messed around with and pushed out to the kids. And I feel like you said indie music is going to make a huge comeback, whether it's drum and bass, whether it's indie music, is in rock music. I feel like there's going to be a huge push soon.
I think we missed the roughness. I think it's that whole, I mean, that was another thing with the rave thing. It wasn't polished. It was like you had the odd loop that wasn't quite cut right, or it was just sort of put together, and it was that roughness and that edge that gave it something more natural, I suppose. And
I suppose that comes with having a kit that wasn't designed to make it all perfect.
No, exactly. It was almost done on 2 turntables. A lot of it was done on 2 turntables. You know, cutting between the two, it was that sort of thing. So,
which is you know, takes us on to our next bit is you now having access to the whole world and being able to record music because of future developments and be like, hello, somebody in Alaska, here is my track. And has that changed how you make music and how you distribute it?
It has, yes.
Obviously, obviously it has. That was a really obvious question, but
no, it's fine, because I mean, I come from the days of demo tapes. So you know, you'd write some tracks and you'd send them off on a tape and you'd post it in a Jiffy Brag and you'd hope that someone might listen to it and get back to you. But now with social media, you've got a whole new world now where you can actually build up relationships with people, and you can build up with other artists and get in touch with other artists from, like you said, from other countries worldwide and build things up. And I've had people come and follow me from other countries and say, oh, I quite like your track, and oh, I like that, that's quite good. And so it does open it up. Yeah. I mean, to me, social media is quite an alien thing. I'm not really used to doing it, and I probably refused it for a little bit. I was sort of reluctant to do it. But then I sort of accepted it and thought, well, this is the way the world's going. If I want to push forward and do what I want to do with DJing, producing, whatever, I've got to take it on board, and I've got to do content. I've got to do the odd Instagram pic. I've got to do TikTok stuff. You know, you have to get to a point where you either don't do it and don't get anywhere, or you flow with it and just use it to your advantage and do what you want to do.
And it's all about there are the hardcore music fans out there. There is just about the music. If the music sounds good, they will follow it no matter where it goes.
Yes.
And I tuned in to, like Splash Damage Radio, the radio station I work with Steve. I feel like there's just room there for people to connect across that. And he was looking for independent music artists like yourself that can supply music and stuff. And I was like, oh well, there's this guy I know, James, who makes his own music, and then they got together. But like I started watching you on Mixcloud. Me and Steve, the gaffer from the state radio station, we're both on the same thing. We were like messaging, like, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. But there's like this just constant. The comments are just bam, 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 bam from all around the world as you're doing this. I mean, that's fantastic. Congratulations on that, because
thank you.
That is
it's great.
Not easy to do.
No, and I want to build on it, and I want to keep it going. And I think the world can be quite a fickle place. I think you can have your time, and if you don't keep with it and keep going with it, you have that little pause where you disappear for a while and come back. It's almost like you're starting again from the beginning. And I think music can be a bit like that. So you have to, once you've got that little snap capture, like if I get played on BBC Introducing or stuff like that, I have to go with it. I have to sort of push forward on that. So
yeah, and speaking about because you have just been played on BBC Introducing, haven't you?
Did I? Yeah. Saturday about 9:30. Was it? Yeah.
But we'll get there eventually. We need to speak about what happens before then, because obviously you need to try and make a name for yourself. How do you make a name for yourself? Right. There's so much noise out there with YouTube. You type in drum and bass on YouTube and see what happens.
Yes.
You'll get millions and millions and millions of videos.
Yes.
How do you stand out? What do you do?
I like to try and be different. I like to use it, like my name I used to use was Sinister, but that was when I was writing sort of more trancey, hardcore stuff. And when I moved across to drum and bass, I thought, now do I either ride on that and just say, right, I'm going this genre now, or do I start from a completely different name? There was various reasons for me, personal ones as well, for me to start a different name. So I changed it to Bassphaze, which is the name I use now. And I thought I can start from a clean slate. I can say, right, this is what I'm producing now, which I thought was a good way of doing it. Good for social media as well, because I can build it from a clean profile. I can do it all new pictures. Because I always think as well, you can look at someone's profile, and if the stuff's way old, it's like, well, what they've been doing since. I thought if I start from scratch, build it up, I can do that.
Sound an inflatable seat with a Tamagotchi in their hand.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, or I've got vinyl on the shelf, my 2 vinyls, but
shelves full of cassettes.
Exactly, yeah. And I thought you've got to be more, like you said, you've got to be current, you've got to be up to date. The other thing as well is, I think there's a guy I follow called Adam Ivy, who does a master class. He's an American guy, and he's very much into marketing and stuff like that. So he sort of talks about what sort of tags to use. Like you said, you wouldn't use drum and bass, saturated, but you might use something like DNB Radio.
Yeah.
You might use DNB Shropshire. You might use DNB England or something like that, and you've just got to be a bit more specific with the tags, and that's what I've sort of learned as well. Plus, I have 2 teenage daughters, and my one daughter is very much into social media, and she got me into like TikTok and say, well, Dad, don't use these sort of tags, use these ones, and think about this. So
it's amazing how we can do that with the youth of today.
Because
we can learn so much whilst they learn off us. It's quite good.
Exactly.
I'm going to be taking pictures.
That's fine. It's fine.
And of course, the competitions. Like you entered a competition, which is
I did.
Which is where we sort of. This podcast, by the way, guys, it has been about 6 months in the making or something crazy. Like,
it took a while to meet up. Yeah. We got there in the end,
because you did a competition, and
I did in November,
and you won a very good award, didn't you?
I did.
About that.
Yes, I was quite surprised. I basically I work for, I say an agency. They're sort of like a streaming group called Indulgence With A Twist, and it's indulgencewithatwist.com. I've got to drop that in there. Sorry, bit of a clanger then. Sorry.
Visit them, guys.
Lots of DJs in the drum, bass, techno, and sort of garage. They do some sort of garage stuff as well. And they did an up-and-comers competition and said basically anybody who could sort of enter could enter, including people they sort of knew about anyway, including me. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. So I put a mix together. I think it was about an hour. I had to do an hour-long mix. I then sort of... thought it's okay, I'm quite happy with it. I'm getting quite a good response on the streams, because I stream for them as well. And then we got invited to go down to Milton Keynes, where the event was going to be. And they had various DJs playing that night, and then they did the awards, and I won Best DNB Male Artist.
Wow.
And apparently, from what there was a DJ there called Elisa, who's an Essex garage DJ, and she was hosting. And what she said on the sheet was there was 204 entries for the DNB Male DNB one. So I was quite pleased with that.
You
but
should
not a
be
huge
too.
massive amount, but
No,
for where I'm at, you know,
4 or 5 is still good. Do you know what I mean? Because you're still the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah.
And you had to go there with your competition as well.
Yeah.
You know? And what was that like, seeing those other people that you were competing against? Was
was really
that
good.
camaraderie, or was it kind of like, I'm going to eat you alive?
Well, there was a little bit. I think there was a little bit when it was being announced. There was a few of us all looking around at each other, going, "Oh yeah, you've entered and you've entered. All right, okay, here we go." You know, sort of thing. But when it was announced, everyone was really supportive and everyone was clapping, saying well done. And a lot of the MCs on the stage were all clapping as well, and a lot of the DJs. So there was no sort of bitchiness, there was sort of like you just a bit, there was camaraderie. It's a lot of like, like hats off to you sort of thing.
Those things I was trying to catch with the award ceremonies where Leonardo DiCaprio was like, why when he doesn't get his award?
So they're clapping like this, with the straight face.
Straight face. That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I've worked hours on that film to try and get that award.
Yeah.
So it was really good. Yeah, there was definitely a buzz off it, and I felt like I was sort of getting somewhere and doing it. And I got my little trophy, which I've got on my kit here. That's standing there. And I've got the award on the wall behind me. So if I have days when things just aren't going right, or I feel a bit, if I'm writing something or things in life, you can just look at that. It makes you feel a bit better and think, right, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. So. And
those days do come up often, don't they, for creators? I had a bit of a wobble last week because of issues with. So here's a. The guys listening to the podcast now will be like, "Oh, here he goes again." But I just want to sit in a studio and talk to people. That's all I want to do. I don't want to deal with business stuff. I don't want to deal with this, that, and the other. So when somebody says, "Oh, Alex, we need this from you," I'm kind of like, "Oh," and I panic a little bit because I don't think about these things, and when they happen, I'm kind of panic a little. When I stumble into a problem, I kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's not to say I don't want to do the biscuit anymore. I kind of only think about my passion for creating things. There's no room for anything else.
No.
And when you're making music and you get any issues, any problems, do you feel similar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people talk about anxiety and things like that. And yeah, I get anxious. I have days when I just don't feel like writing anything, even though I know it'll make me feel better. Just getting up here and standing in front of it, sitting in front of this it's just not on my radar. And you also have to be in the right mindset to write stuff as well. Because if you've got other things going on in your head, bills, life, family, whatever else, it's a distraction. And then you just have to get yourself in the mindset. And it is to do with creativity. It's like that. Sometimes it helps if you want to. You feel a bit angry, you can write an angry track because you feel like I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna put
maybe not for podcasters. They'll be like, I hate the world. Hear me say this.
Yeah, well, we musicians do it in a music way. They just say I hate the world, but they do it in music form, sort of thing.
It does drive you because then you're kind of like, well, no, I'm not that bad. Here's what I can actually do. I'm not some of the last 2 vlogs I created, I thought were beautiful, and I don't usually think that about my own work. I'm kind of like, ugh, yeah. But I put that vlog together at Shrewsbury School, looking at the library and stuff, and I was just like, there's parts of it I was kind of like, I made that,
yeah.
And it must be the same with your music.
It is. It is.
I did that, and I won this award. You look at that award, and you feel
it is. I mean, sounds really bad now. I'm not saying like I'm boasting, but I probably had about 4 or 5 tracks now played on the Introduce It. But even every time I get a new one played, I'm still like, that's really good.
No,
I'm really happy with that. It's really good.
There was something I used to scoff at. People say you need to learn to love yourself, and I'm like, no, that's vain. You can't.
No, it's true.
No, you need to be able to. I think there's a fine line between boasting about something you've done in a positive way. I made this. This is what I'm worth.
Yeah.
Or like, I am the best and there's no one, but that's a bit too far. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be able to say, no, I have had 4 or 5 tracks played on BBC Introducing because I deserve it.
Yeah. There's a that's the door. Just bear with.
Yeah, it's all right. Can
you pause it for a second?
Yeah, of course. There we go. I created a separate track there.
Did you? Okay, then.
There we go.
We're back on. Right. Okay. So yes. So loving yourself, basically. I think you do need that sort of thing to not feel special, feel like, like you said, love yourself, and if you don't, nobody else is going to. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have that thing of trying to get yourself sorted out.
It goes back to what we were saying about there being lots of noise out there and lots of you can post something in the morning and it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, people have only just glanced at what you've done. Sometimes you got to remind people, no, here it is again. Take another look, because I feel like there's again a fine line, because with doing what I do, you see a lot of fickleness, a lot of terrible people that just and I guess it must be the same in the music world. I mean, I've spoken to a few musicians where it's very similar, where you can be having a conversation. Someone can I'm part of a few podcast groups, and somebody I'm about to start a podcast. Can anybody give me any advice on microphones? And then there'll be a link, bomb, of somebody's podcast. No, hi, take a listen to my thing. You might get just bam, listen to my show. Bam, listen to my show. And it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's crass. It's disgusting. And that is a terrible thing to do. So don't do that.
I think it's like you've completely ignored that person.
It's rude.
You're not interested. Exactly, it's rude. It's like you interrupting a conversation. It's it's just rude, and you need to respect people. And I've come across, especially when I used to MC. So I used to MC for a mate who used to DJ in the hardcore scene as well. And there was many an MC who had, let's just say, the wrong attitude.
And do you think that comes across when you're trying to build a fan base, like Mixcloud, all these comments, blah, blah, blah. Do you think people are responding to you as a person as well as you as a musician?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that I'm just not. I mean, I think I'd like to sort of build, and I don't think I'd ever want to be one of them people that just, if I play a DJ set, it's awkward at the moment, obviously with COVID and everything, but if I played a DJ set, so hopefully I might have a set coming up at the Bottom Market soon on one of the sort of student nights. Mm-hmm. Which would be really good. And I wouldn't like to think that when I've done the set, if someone came up to me and went, "Oh, it's fantastic," I'd just go, "Yeah, thanks," walk off. I'd like to think I'd be able, because I've been where they've been.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that I'd be able to have a chat with them and say, "Well, did you really like it?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, great. Yeah, fantastic." And I'd like to think that I'd always be in that position to do that and respect someone because I'd like to always think that I've come from that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people I'd met, not everyone. There were some DJs that were really friendly, and the first guy who let me MC was really good, a DJ called Unknown. And I literally went up to him and he was DJ, and I sort of went up to him, did some hand signals of, "Can I go on the mic?" And he was like, thumbs up, put the channel up, and off I went. And I said to him afterwards, that was the first time I've ever done it, and he was like, "It's really good, it's great, really good." He said, and I thanked him for it. But I know there's some other DJs you wouldn't even be able to approach unless you were a full-on name in the scene. You just wouldn't be given that chance to try and start. And I think that's what people should deserve, and they should be able to do it.
So do you think it's really good to surround yourself with people that, not necessarily yes men, because you need people to say, "No, this is terrible, good way to do it again."
Absolutely.
But also creatives that you can trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need people that will come to you and say, "Do you know what, that's rubbish. You need to do that." Or but say, "It is rubbish, but if you did this, 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 and this, you get it right, it'd be right." And then I can go, "Yeah, that's fine. I get that." Yeah, I'm open to criticism, but I'm not going to turn around and go, "I've just wrote the best track ever." I have given feedback on tracks on people online. They've said, "Oh, listen to this, see what you think." And I've gone, "It's really good, but you just need to maybe just work on that drum beat, or work on that, or maybe just tighten that up a bit, or something like that." And they've just gone, "Yeah, thanks." And they're fed up. They're fed up because they just think in their own head they've come up with the best track ever, and they've probably only been doing it 6 months.
Yeah.
So
the worst people are graphic designers.
Yeah,
I'll be like, "Oh, what do you think of this poster?" And Shane Chebsey, who runs Comics Salopia, good friend of ours. I'd be like, "I designed this poster for this thing we're doing. What do you think?" He'd be like, "No, the font's wrong. This is bad. This is you've been." And as well as a poster a few weeks ago, Cherie Gerard, who did Drawn, amazing artist, a good friend of the show. I was doing something with her, a design. So I was like, "Can I get your opinion on this?" And she's like, "You've tried to be way too clever with the font there. And you need to symbolize it and do this, that, and the other." And yeah, do you know what? There is a part of me that goes, "Blooming hell," but they know what they're talking about. They're my peers, so I will go and do what they tell me to. And sometimes it'll pay off, and I'll learn not to do that again.
Well, part of me I've sort of mentioned yet, and I probably have to talk about this now, was when I started sending off tapes, probably early 2000s. That's where those 2 records came from on the vinyl I've got on my wall.
Oh well.
I did actually write stuff for a label called New Energy, And there was basically a guy called Sharky. Who's a guy called Jonathan Neath.
No one called George.
No.
Sharky and George. Come on.
Well, he was an MC in the hardcore scene, very sort of renowned, well-known. Brought out albums called Bonkers. Albums that were 8 years ago, hardcore albums had like cartoony fronts. And I sent a tape off to their label, and I'd also been talking to him on community boards before we had all sort of social media. Got to know him. And I got a call out of the blue. And he was being very comical, and he joked and pretended to be a German adult film director, and said, "Would I like to be in his movies?" So I'm like, picked the phone up, and I was like, "Who is this? What are you talking about?" And then he goes, "Oh, it's Sharky," and I was like, "Hello," sort of thing. He said, "Oh, we just listened to your tape. Do you want to come down and write some songs or some tracks?" I went, "Yeah, all right." So I came down. I took my keyboard with me and stuff, and But what the good thing with that was I had some ideas and some demos which I took down. We put them into his studio, and then he showed me how to do various things. I had to build these tracks, and I'd say to him, "Well, how do I make that sound that's in that song that you released?" And he'd go, "Oh yeah, we do this, this, and this." So from that, I learned a lot of stuff as well. I wouldn't have learned just learning myself. So having those, there was a lad called Pete as well. Who was a guy called K Complex, who was I'm good friends with now. And they both taught me a lot of stuff, a lot of things, how to build things, what's called a sound wall, is where you build up all your sounds in layers, and then you just move the things around in the song to say, right, well, there's my middle bit, there's my end bit, and there's my start bit. So it's all about balancing those levels and EQing them and compressing them and things like that, and building all that up as well. And they're things I would never have learned if I hadn't gone there. So I need to thank those guys a lot as well. And also from that, we wrote a track called Chemical Warfare, which got released on vinyl, which is on that one there. No, that one there, sorry, left one. Which also went out on the Bonkers album, which is sold worldwide. And that was on there as well. And that album went silver in the end.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, so it was all right. So obviously, I can take the credit for that, because obviously that's Sharky's Bonkers album, but as an inclusive track, it was on the mix. Yeah. So that was seeing my name on the back of it. Yeah, it was good.
Is that like one of your, up there with the top moments?
Yeah, it is. When he I was at work.
Was that under Bassphaze as well? Was that?
No, that was Sinister. That was Sinister. But when I was, it's probably 2001, 2002. But when I remember I was working in Birmingham at the time, and I remember going into HMV, and it was on the shelf, and I remember looking at the back and seeing produced by James Lock and P. Richardson. I was like, oh, that's me.
That is amazing.
So it's quite good.
They're the best moments, though.
Yeah, little. Yeah.
When we go back to talking about, sort of loving yourself and appreciating yourself and what you've done, you can look back at those moments and go, do you know what? No, I am worth it. Do you know what I mean? And this goes out to all creators out there. I'm not just talking about musicians or podcasts. I'm talking about if you're an artist or you're a photographer.
Absolutely.
Or if you're writing a dissertation from university, whatever it is, you're capable. Now, I wanted to talk about something that's really, really more of a fun little jokey little dig. There's a few scenes in, I don't know, Family Guy or something, where they were like, okay, is a superstar DJ, now what's he going to do? And he just presses play, and he's behind this big block, and he just stands there. Misconceptions of a DJ. What actually goes on when a DJ is working on stage, getting the music going? Is he actually making the music he's made on the spot, or is he just press play?
It's a big area, that. Yeah. So yes, you can have. So what you can use, you've either got like me behind you. You've got the RX2 controller, which is like basically 2 CDJs, as in like the controllers without the CDs, and the mixer in the middle. You plug USB sticks in, and you're playing MP3s or WAV files, whatever you want to play off those. The old days, it used to be vinyl, so it used to be 1210s. So basically what's going on with the DJs playing, it depends on the genre. If you're playing house, they tend to mix the tracks in from the beginning, maybe. Sometimes they just brick them in, they're gradually more of a 4/4 beat. What you're getting with drum bass at the moment is, and trance is the same way as house. What you're getting with drum bass at the moment, they're using 3 decks, and they're doing what's called blending. So what they might do is they might play a bit off that one, a bit off the middle one, and a bit off the one on the right. And they will mix and blend these tracks. So even if someone knows a track that they might have downloaded or be playing at home, when they go out to hear it, it might be completely different, because the DJ will crossfade and mix the different elements out of them. It's what they call mix and blending. I was at an event on Friday night called Subvert, and there was 2 guys there called the Jam Thieves, and they were doing that a lot because they were playing like an intro, and then a big thing with DNB is rewind. So they play a track, the crowd go wild, and because they go wild, even though you've just mixed it in, you stop it, rewind it, and play it again. Don't get that. Never got that, but it seems to work, right? So, but he played the same intro, but then as it went back into what I thought I'd already heard, he played a completely different bit of the song. So I was like, okay, that's something I'd not really got my head around yet. I've got to try and sort of do that. So, yeah, you get a lot of, how can I say this now? I think there's a lot of celebrities out there that tend to plug the stick in, press play,
and then
just dance around great. Probably got it on. And another thing as well, you get what's called beat syncing, which is where the decks actually do the sync for you. That's a big no-no.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's you spit on the floor sort of thing. How dare you do that? You don't do that.
That's like, I guess that's like not like auto-tune gets used a lot of music now, but like even today, people are like, oh.
Yeah, it's a similar thing though. It's that similar reputation that you should be able to mix yourself and you should be able to do it creatively. And with the decks as well, you haven't just got the sort of the tunes anymore. You can add effects, you can reverse, you can do what's called the spin back. You can press the slip button and spin it back like a normal vinyl, and it'll do the thing that you get. So it's all about being creative. It's almost like another instrument. You're not just using it for the decks. You're gonna. I mean, there's a noise thing on it when I'll do like a riser, so like a whoosh sound. So if you bring you press the noise button and bring the filter in slowly, you can almost create like this. And you can bring it into the next track, which I find works really well. So I do that a lot.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was listening to it and he was like, oh yeah, did you do that? And I was like, oh, I'll do that. Press that button. That works.
Sometimes you just got to play around with stuff. I mean, the radio, what I do is I use like a sample in the background with music. So I'm talking over the music. Hey guys,
that's it.
Welcome to the show. Yeah. But sometimes the music will run on a bit too long and you can't just stop it. Or even if you fade it out, it looks a bit weird. So what I'll do is I'll have a sample just underneath it. So I'll press that and it'll go, and I'll turn that down quickly, turn my mic off, playing the song.
That's it.
And it just sounds like it just fades in perfectly, and I got that just from playing around. No one taught me that. I taught myself, And are you finding that you can just literally teach yourself new techniques and then teach other, by playing around with it? And
I mean, there's if I talk about the techniques, but it's also like the sound as well that people are coming up with. At the moment, there seems to be one sort of particular sound that's been used a lot, and it's from a synth called Serum, which is getting used a lot now.
And there's this one as well.
Oh, that's it.
The air horn.
That's like it. What was his name? He used to be the DJ on the Radio 1, hip hop DJ. What was his name? Oh, Tim
Westwood.
Tim Westwood. He used to use that.
Tim Westwood.
Def Jam. Yeah. So
I used to love him.
Yeah, it was great. And he used to use that as well.
Yeah.
Like air raid sirens. He used to use air raid sirens for everything.
Reminds me of Spider-Man. Peter Parker. Sorry, guys.
No. Sorry. But so we used to do that, but at the moment I'm finding there's a lot of this one synth called Serum, which is used for everything, and they're using it for a lot of tracks. So I found myself sort of trying to be a bit more creative and not using that synth, because I want to try. I'm probably shooting myself a little bit in the foot because I'm watching crowds like I did on Friday night, and they're in sounds. They're like, "Yeah, it's great, love it," and I'm thinking, I'm getting a bit bored of that.
It's too safe,
too samey, too safe. Let's give them something different. So I did that release, and then the track Ring the Alarm, the one I brought out recently, that I did that something different in that. So I'm more about the creativity. I don't look at that and think, right, well, I want to do that too. Yeah. I want to, exactly. I thought it was too easy. That I want to think, right, well, I can use that, and maybe I'll reverse it, or maybe I'll chop it up, or I'll put it through another filter and see what comes out of that. So that comes back to the creativity thing as well. So.
And so you've done all this. You've done a competition. You've created your own skill set. You've got great people around you, and then all of a sudden you're getting music played on the BBC. How did that come across? Is that because of maybe you've won this award? Have people gone, oh, he's won this award. He's done all these things. We're going to play his music on the BBC. How does that happen?
It's not like that, and I'm quite glad it isn't really, because I want it to be based on the music itself.
Oh, good.
So. It literally comes down to write a track, you upload it, and if they think it's good enough, they play it. And it's as simple as that. So
if people go nuts for it, people just go, "We found this guy."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's having that following, and it's I mean they're obviously they get a lot of music every week. Yeah. They're not just there's a lot of artists around Shropshire and Telford, and they're all talented people. I mean, there's a guy called Trademark Blood I know, and he's producing some really good stuff, some hip hop stuff, amazing. Loads of other artists as well, indie artists. So I feel quite humble really to sort of be able to get played, and I get played And it seems to be every track I'm writing at the moment they're playing. So there's either really rubbish stuff out there, or no, I'm joking, but you know, so but you know, or but it's going well, you know, it's going in the right direction. So
I mean, like there might be something they play, but just at I feel like with success with music, with success with anything really, a lot of it comes down to luck, the right person hearing it at the right time.
Oh yeah,
you know, the airtime.
Yeah.
I mean, drum and bass tend to play in the early hours of the morning or late at night. Do you know what I mean? Not many music producers are sat up listening to the radio at that sort of time. You know, it's
no.
Must be incredibly difficult to get noticed.
It is, yeah. I mean, I used to be part of the Beat Forum, which is what the group is my brother-in-law does, and they're mainly house DJs. And I used to play a set on there, but I felt like the audience was good, but it gradually began to change, but only because it was a genre that they weren't really heading up, which I get, it's fine. So I had to sort of leave that. And it was all under good terms. It was fine. I just thought I need to get back into a drum and bass area where they're doing more promotion and they're doing more sort of things towards that genre. But you're right, it is difficult. And it's quite a sort of limited genre as well. Whether it has its time or not, I don't know. I'd say that dubstep had its time. Garage probably had its time a little bit. You know, it has those little favour. Everyone thinks, oh, it's a brand new thing, but people soon
There's
get bored.
a time when it was just all DJs. It was like David Guetta and Avicii and Bass Hunter and all these kind of all these at the time. And then I mean, Avicii was my favourite out of the lot of him. I'm gutted he's gone because I thought he's had an amazing sound.
It was.
So yeah, these guys got recognised. But yeah, I feel like with what you guys do, it's something that can be adapted into all kinds of music and with all kinds of media.
Yeah,
you know, whether it's a car chase scene in a movie, or whether it's an advert, or whether it's you know, drum and bass is everywhere around us. You know,
it seems to be that, you know, if they were on I don't know, if you're on like a Peloton advert or jogging, anything like that, they need something that's upbeat. They need some music that's upbeat. They need something like this, you know. I lose track of the amount of car adverts I've seen with the Prodigy have been used. There's a track on that, and you know, yeah, exactly, yeah. There's always stuff being used for, like, you know, if they want an energetic track, or where should we go? Go to dance music sort of thing, and we'll do that. So, but I suppose like every music has its, you know, you want something atmospheric genre, you probably use something like Hans Zimmer or something like that. You know, you use
Hans Zimmer.
I love Hans Zimmer. But you know, you cater the music to the scene, really. So,
how do you? Is there something that you take part in or do that kind of inspires you away from music to make music?
Yeah, I mean, I used to quite like drawing, so I used to like do the creativity. That I've always been quite creative. But even if I'm out somewhere, I'll be doing, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't know, really. Anything that comes along, I'll suddenly get an idea in my head for a track, and I'll suddenly think, my brain is always like going 100 mile an hour. It always is. My wife will say that. My wife will say I'm humming around the house. I'll be doing stuff and I'll be talking, but as I'm talking, I'm humming because I'm thinking always about another track, and I'm thinking about a riff, or I'm thinking about something like that, and I think, oh, that works. Oh, that was quite well. Or maybe I could do that. And so there's always, I wouldn't say there's anything exactly that inspires me. I mean, sometimes there is. But generally, it's just there's always something going around my head. There's always some kind of track. It always comes back to the music. Always comes back to the music all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how I keep calling myself a creative in a way that when I say I'm creative, I'm not comparing myself to movie makers like Luke Allen and Gareth Thomas, like musicians like yourself, or people that actually have, like, you know, vocations in something brilliant. I mean, I do make stuff in my own little way, but at the moment I'm trying to put it to good use. I'm recording a voice reel hopefully next week, so I can send it out for auditions. And that is on my mind a lot, and I'm doing stupid things like, I don't know, arguing with the soap in the shower or something. I drop the soap and I'm like, oh, you're a wise guy, huh? You know, stupid little things. My wife's just, I could feel her rolling her eyes, and she's not in the bathroom with me, you know. And I find myself walking around, and I've got that focus, voices, messing around, doing stuff. Or with I remember when I was making all these vlogs for the Darwin Festival, what I did was, for the first one, I put it all onto the editor, and then I went to bed, and it was in a certain arrangement. And I got up and I was like, no, I had to get up and go and arrange it and put it in the way that I just thought about in bed, because otherwise it would have been gone and I couldn't have slept. No way. So yeah, it's a thing I have to go and do.
I've had times when I've been out, or I've had to get the dictaphone on my phone, and I'll think of a riff and I'll hum the riff in the phone. I'll go like, or something like that, and I'll do it in the phone because I don't want to forget it. And then I'll come back here and I'll play it back and I'll go, oh yeah, so that'll be, and I'll start trying to type it out on the keyboard and doing it. But I drive Rach, my wife, mad, because I'd be like humming away. She go, why are you humming again? I'm like, I'm just humming, thinking of what, next thing coming along sort of thing. So
I forget how many, club bangers I've actually created in the shower that I've just been on about.
Next number one. Yeah.
Have you ever been commissioned to make music for other people, or is that on the cards? Or
I'm hoping it. I've got a guy one of the guys from the Canada lot. He wants me to write him an intro, so I'm going to be doing that soon. I'm hoping for other stuff in the future. Yeah, some remixes. I mean, see what comes along, really, sort of thing. So
yeah, and obviously, like this has all come from the '90s rave scene,
yes,
and it's expanded all the way through here. And I think it's really important to stay current. Obviously, we've just been talking about new advancements in equipment and new trends in music with the new samples that you were talking about. And how do you stay current? How do you keep in touch with what's the music of today, or does it not matter because you need to make music of yesteryear that fits in? How does that work?
No, it does matter. You can take elements from old songs. There's a lot of I've done that thing, like
bootlegging stuff.
Yeah, I've listened. Exactly, bootlegging. I've listened to, my daughter's played me track. Yeah, my middle daughter, she's quite into her music, and my eldest daughter is as well. And they play tracks in the car, like when I've seen them on a Wednesday or Saturday night, and I've gone, hang on a minute, that's that loop from the 90s, and they've gone, oh no, it's a new track. I'm like, no, it isn't. That's it's been sampled. So I think staying current is the fact that you have to keep up what's going on. At the end of the day, you play into a crowd, you play into an audience. If you don't write stuff the audience don't like, then you're not really going to get anywhere. But on the other hand, you've also got to keep true to yourself. That sounds really corny saying that, but you've got to be true to yourself as well and what you want to write. But you've got to keep a balance. You've got to have that balance. It's no good in writing something really obscure that people are going to go, I'm not really sure what that's about, sort of thing. But on the other hand, you don't want to be too commercial either. Like I was talking about, that they're using the same sound all the time for that track. To me, it's a bit not selling out. I don't mean selling out. It just means it's too commercial. Just be more creative, play around with it a bit.
Yeah, and that's something that comes up very often when it comes to creative. So I was chatting to a movie maker at the weekend, and he's only a young guy, and he was saying to me, I make movies that I would want to watch. And when I started doing the radio, Matt Connaughton is a radio host up in New Hampshire in America. I just happened to start listening to it. I asked him, I came on the show, and I was chatting away. And I was like, well, what advice have you got for me for the radio? And he's like, he makes a radio show he would want to listen to. And that's how I make Naughty Talk. And same with music. You make something, I imagine, that you would like to listen to. And that was your passions come through from that. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Because I have to think about sort of the elements I'd like to hear, and
that sounds busting. I can just imagine it.
Yeah, I mean, I always do it on the whole. The hairs on the back of your neck. If you get that hairs on the back of your neck, you're like, I'll write a song, I'll make a sound, and I'll go, oh, and straight away I'll think that's good. But then in my head I'll be picturing that through like a big club system or something like that, and thinking,
used to do it in cars, in the old hip hop scene. They go and play music in a car. If it sounded great, they bring it back up. That's perfect. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, because you've got so many. The Internet of Things, they call it now, don't they? With all the different devices like your iPads, your mobiles, a lot of them haven't got great sound systems. I'll write a stereo track, and you have to be careful because when you do stereo tracks, if you widen the channels too much to the left and the right, because if they're played through a mono speaker on a phone, those elements disappear. So you almost end up with half a track playing. So when you're writing stuff now, mixing down, you almost have to have different versions for different. You have to have like a club version which has got like a proper kicking bass on it. But if you played that on a phone, it would distort. So you have to do like a phone version. So you have to do one where you've squashed everything back towards the centre so it all plays.
This is where it's podcast and radio as well kind of meets, because I can release this as a mono now and you wouldn't know any difference because, like you said, you listen to your phone or your headphones through your phone and it wouldn't make a difference. But with the radio, everything's stereo on radio. So like if I was to do this, on the radio and release this as a mono, you don't hear it through your left headphone.
Correct.
And that's where it's all completely different. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So there is a lot of thought about that as well. A lot of the plugins I've got for my kit, I can play stuff in mono as well as stereo, so I can play it back. And there's even a simulator to say like, I want to test it what it sounds like through a mobile. So you switch the mobile on and it'll play it as if it's through. So it'll play it through these speakers, these monitors, but it'll mimic a phone or something like that.
I need to get some monitors.
JBL's recommended. Awesome.
Yeah,
JBL 5s. Great.
I do like JBL's equipment. They make good headphones too.
They do. They're great.
leading on to one of my final questions for you is a young DJ is listening to this now, maybe, possibly. If you listen to the Shrewsbury Biscuit and you're under 30, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
They're listening to it. They want to start. What basic equipment do they need to buy? This is going to be hard because you.
No, it's fine. I would say start off with something called Ableton Live. I use Reason. Reason's good, but it's quite expensive on the license side of things.
Is it?
Software, yeah. So let's just So basically, a piece of music software. It's what they call a DAW. So it's a digital audio workstation.
DAW, yeah.
Yeah, DAW. So you can buy Ableton, quite a cheap license. You can buy the light version, which I think gives you something like 8 channels.
Well, Mix as well, because I use Mix.
Mix is good. There's a lot of free synths out there now, what they call VSTs. A lot of free synth plugins that you can buy or download. Magazine called Computer Music. They give away a lot of stuff free, so you can build. And they even do articles on how to build tracks for free. Use all free software, so it doesn't cost you anything, especially if you're young and you're starting off and money's not great. It's all right. Regarding DJing, again, you can use something called Recordbox, which is what I use for doing playlists and playing stuff out. You can do mixing on that, and then you can buy a relatively small controller for a few £100. So get you going, get you started, and you can practice your mixing on that. So yeah, producing, I'd say use Ableton and get some few free synths. It's hard to say that.
A few free synths.
Off the net, and then for, like I said, producing Recordbox and a controller.
And a controller.
Yeah.
I've been looking at, stuff as it sounds, I was looking at a control just from the radio thing. Because it is literally, I'm there with a mouse, like, click, next song, like, click, yep. And then I feel, with the fading in stuff, when I was talking about, like, from one sample to another, I think it would be so much easier for me to just flip from one. But if I had an actual button rather than a mouse I have to click, I feel like it would work so much better. So I was looking at that. But that thing you got behind you is way too big for my desk. It would not fit.
Well, that's the little one, because my brother-in-law's got the bigger one. That's actually the smaller brother of the bigger one. So you get that. It's called the RX2.
Dave and Benny showed me one. I think theirs is probably a bit bigger.
Yeah, an XZ. It's probably an XZ with the 4 channels. That's what my brother-in-law's got. So,
but it's not the size; it's how it sounds, guys.
Exactly. Yes. It's not about the size.
Your desk or not?
No. I've told him that many a time. Yeah.
I don't know. You and Dave go back years. There's a picture of you guys together, wasn't it?
Princey. Oh yeah. Have you not seen that? Have you seen the symbol one? Have you get him to show the symbol picture?
No.
There's me at school. There's me at school. Me and Dave Prince, and basically we were in this orchestra doing stuff like like you do in junior school. And I had a little wood block. And he had a pair of cymbals. And if you know Dave well, he's not the quietest of guys, is he? No, right. So
he is until you put a microphone in his face and he's kind of like, yes.
Yeah, see, that's not, that's many story.
And I know he's not like that in real life.
No, he's not like that at all. No.
So he's got this symbol behind you.
So you've got 2 symbols. So basically, there's all these parents watching, all proud of their kids. And I used to know his mum and dad as well. And so I'm knocking this block at the right time, going ding. And he's got these massive cymbals. So I'm going ding, and he's going with these cymbals and pretty much deafening everybody. And I'm going ding, and he's going again with it. And then we had the parents in hysterics apparently, and it was one of the funniest things in the show. I don't remember that well, but my mum and dad had a picture. I think I've got it somewhere of me and him together. Yeah.
Are you guys gonna be working together? 90s revival, bass.
I'd love to. I'd love to do a set, like an old school set.
They got their festival coming up in June, haven't they?
Yeah. I think Paul's Bennett's son. I think Luke. He's getting into his drum and bass from what I heard. Sort of thing.
I saw the video on Facebook. Was like, where he was like, he's going for it.
Funny enough, he was at the event on Friday. I saw him. He didn't recognise me, but I saw him there, sort of thing. So I'd love to do something if they want to do something in the future. I've got an old school set coming up for the Beat Forum. I think in Starbridge sometime soon, but no official date on that yet. So. But yeah, it's all good stuff. It's all happening.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all going the right way.
It's all good. Where can people follow you if you wanted to?
Right. Okay. So on Facebook under Bassphaze, which is BASSPHAZE. Instagram Bassphaze UK. And Mixcloud is probably a good one. If everyone's got Mixcloud, look for Bassphaze, and all my streams from previous shows are on there, so people can catch up on there. I've also got a website called bassphaze.com. And just search for Bassphaze on the line, you'll see it. There is a guy in Germany, but if you look for the UK one, that'll be me.
Do you do regular streams weekly?
I do regular streams. I do a Friday stream 7 till 8 on indulgencewithatwist.com. Many other good DJs on there people can follow. Check it out and follow it on Mixcloud or Facebook. And I also do DNB Promo Team Radio on a Saturday night between 8 and 9, which is the Canada-based ones, but they also go across the UK.
Fantastic. Well, James, I always enjoyed chatting to you, and now I'm not doing so much at the prison because I'm so busy. This is like a bonus bit of time to spend with you. But
I've enjoyed it. It's really good.
And you got to support the biscuit. I caught this idea of following you around with a camera because it's just one of the, can I come? That's not what I meant. What I meant was like with the misconceptions of a DJ.
Yeah.
People think a DJ just turns up, presses play, and goes home with a bird. You know what I mean? That's not like. That's kind of like. That's not the life of a DJ. That's a misconception. No, there's lots of hard work. You're a happily married guy.
I am a happily married guy, yes.
And you work hard.
I have to say that she's in the next room. That would JK.
But like, I was watching a DJ, my friend. It's not my friend. He's Matt Connaughton, who does the radio show. Is a friend of his. So Christian, he's just started. I'm really interested in watching his journey because he started his journey in New Hampshire in America, DJ Reckless, and you can see him like appearing in different posters, and he's gradually he's now starting and opening in front of, and he's kind of going up and up and up and up. Yeah. And he's this young guy. He's only 21, I think. And so watching his progression, I'm kind of like, oh, this is nice to see.
Well, I can go one better than that.
Yeah.
There's a guy who, when we went to see Milton Keynes, I say guy, he's 13.
13.
Yep. He's called iBot. So just find him online. Oliver, his name is. He's called iBot. And we met him. Me and my wife met him. And he's had 4 tracks out. Doing really well. Signed to 2 different labels. Big labels. And if anyone knows Ray Keith is, who's quite a known sort of godfather of drum and bass, he's also working with him. And he's 13. And he's still at school. So he's... any little... you talk about budding DJs, go and follow him because he's definitely doing the right thing at the moment. So
going for iBot. iBot. Well, James, thank you very much for chatting with me today.
Really good.
Listeners, I would do my usual plugs at the end of this. Make sure you go to our website, which is the shrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. All of our content is available on there. You can literally press play on the website and it'll play it for you. That's if you don't want to listen via iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts from. We're everywhere, and also YouTube as well. We haven't really been using YouTube. Another word, different one today. But we are starting to release vlogs and stuff on there. So even if you're not going to watch a vlog right now, please just go over to YouTube, give us a subscribe, because anything that pops up, you'll then get a notification. So,
can I just say, if anyone wants to message me or anything about any advice, tips, techniques, anything like that they want, or anything I can help with, just message me by all means. That's fine.
Fantastic.
Or email me at contact@bassphaze.com.
And they'll be able to, if it's a student thing, but maybe bottom market, you might be able to see you again.
Of course, yeah. I can say hello to anyone. Yeah, say hello to me. No problems.
Well, guys, thank you very much for listening. And by the way, our website is made by Web Orchard as well. I shouldn't just throw that. If you need a website, go to Web Orchard. They'll make a website that for anything, whether you've got a DJ site, whether you've got Etsy, whether you've got an online store that across the world somewhere, Web Orchard will sort out for you. They do look after us. They look after our Shrewsbury Biscuit page and my page for You Suck as well, and my other podcast network. So
we've forgotten something.
What have we got?
Do you know what we forgot?
We've got
the exclusive Shrewsbury Biscuit DNB mix on Mixcloud. You only connect to know about if you listen to this.
Yes, we are going to do a mix. One off. I think James is going to show me how to mix. And what I can do is I can put the link on the bottom of this podcast up.
It's too long to message it, but we'll put it on there. Yeah, we'll put it on after.
As you're looking at this now, there's a link somewhere on the text on the write-up for this podcast. Click the link and you will see the Shrewsbury Biscuit one-off Bassphaze.
DNB Bassphaze mix, yes. It's exclusive, not public, so it's only on there.
It's only on there, so you can't do us for any copyright reasons. It's only private, just for you guys.
It's Mixcloud, they get royalties, it's fine. You can do it through Mixcloud.
Click the link, guys, and you'll be able to listen to the link right now. Thank you for James for
pleasure
for this, and hopefully you enjoy whatever music, sweet music we make together. And I'll catch you next time. Peace out.